This is CNN.
All right, we have breaking news in the shooting death of a jogger, keyword, jogger, captured on video, horrifying the country, rightly so. Tonight, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation announced the arrest of the father and son who shot and killed Ahmaud Arbery, 25 years old, jogger. They are now facing murder charges. The suspects are white, the jogger black. Until now, there hasn't been a lot of action, and by the way, that's generous. There hasn't been any action outwardly about this investigation for months. This happened at the end of February. And the suggestion has been, well, we're going to take it to a grand jury. Like that's the beginning of the process. No. Probable cause, as seen by the police for an arrest, is the beginning of a process, not a grand jury. What changed it? This video. Now, this is graphic footage, but if you want the truth, this is what will be the basis of the truth in this situation. Show the video. Now, what do you see in that video? What does it mean? I'm not going to keep showing it to you over and over again. We're going to have time to process this case. Martin Savage has been following this story in Glynn County, Georgia. Martin, thank you for being with us tonight. Let's start with what happened tonight, the arrest. What is the explanation for why now?
You already said it. I mean, it's clear. It's the video that was the real push that made this all happen. I mean, as you pointed out, this case has had two essential speeds. One of them is stagnant, which is the way it was for much of the time, and then lightning. And the difference or the border between those two states was the video that was released on Tuesday morning, because immediately after that horrific video came out, several hours later, Tom Durden, the district attorney in the case, he came out with that message and said, all right, I'm going to now present it to a grand jury. It was taken as a positive step, but of course there are no grand juries being seated right now. Then later that day, you had Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia weigh in and saying, Georgians deserve answers on this. And he said that the state law enforcement agency, GBI, would be at the ready to help if they wanted it. Well, what do you know? Less than an hour later, the DA said, yes, we would accept the help of the GBI. And by Wednesday morning, the very next day, you've got GBI agents on the ground in Glynn County here, and then 24 hours after that, you've got two people under arrest.
Now,
slow to lightning speed.
So just so people understand, bringing in state investigators is really divesting the locals of power. And a local prosecutor had stepped away from this because one of the gentlemen involved, the father, was a former police officer locally. That's not that uncommon. But to have state investigators come in and take over a case is much more uncommon. What do we know about the videotape? So the police didn't have it until this week?
No, the police have had it since the day of the actual shooting back on February 23rd.
Key fact.
And the public was aware. They had heard in legal documents that this video existed, but no one had seen it. And no one really understood how graphic and how horrific it would be until it was unveiled on Tuesday morning. And the question initially was, it was posted on a local radio station website. And the real question was, well, where did that video come from? Who released it? Well, it turns out that there was an attorney that I had heard about by the name of Alan Tucker. And I contacted him and said, are you the one who released the video? Well, a short time later, he put out a statement, a rather lengthy one, saying, yes, I am the one that put out that video. And he said this, my sole purpose in releasing the video was absolute transparency, because my community was being ripped apart by these erroneous accusations and assumptions. So he basically said he, for 2 months, had watched this back and forth, and there was so little coming out of law enforcement, and there was so much being said in that vacuum that he decided he would release the video.
One more question. Who took it, the video, and how did this guy get it?
Yeah, what the breakdown is from the second DA in this case, when he recused himself, he identified who the shooter of that video was. He named him as Brian William. Now, Brian William on the police report is listed as a witness that day on the 23rd when the shooting took place. But in the letter of recusal by this district attorney, he is actually listed more as a participant, but he is named as the person who is actually rolling the video. We don't know why he decided to roll the video. And I should point out that video is at the end of the confrontation.
Yep.
What you do not see is that there were several attempts apparently made by the McMichaels and by Mr. William to stop or somehow intercede and prevent this young man as he was jogging through the neighborhood.
And look, I mean, the most suspicious fact that requires some discovery here is Arbery was jogging down the middle of the street. The suggestion that he was fleeing the scene of a crime is greatly damaged by the idea that he was doing so at a steady gait, running down the middle of the street. Martin Savage, good reporting on this to get to the source of this video, which arguably made the difference in a case and maybe the difference in justice being served. Thank you very much, big brother. Appreciate it. Now, for the family, it's always been about getting the truth. They said from day